Welcome everyone, firstly, to our TELedvisor session for July. Firstly, it is recorded, so just a reminder about that, and we'll share it later on. I'm really excited about this one. I'll give a little bit of a background about myself, and then let the two founders take it away. So I've got learning and teaching background, technology background, real interest in startups. Had my own startup for a while there, focused on English language teaching, and it was kind of a classroom response system, but it really integrated deeply into the classroom. And why this session is kind of dear to my heart is that it's really important, I think anyway, that EdTech stays connected to teachers and stays connected to students. But it's not super easy to do, and I think sessions like this give us an opportunity to connect with founders. You can keep connecting with the founders after this as well if you want to, but provide feedback. You might want to trial one of their products. It might inspire you to trial another product. So anyway, they're my thoughts. I won't go on for too long. Firstly, I'll introduce the first presenter, which is Khang Vo. Now he's going to explain classcom, and we'll provide some feedback on that. A little bit of a declaration. I have been doing some mentoring work with classcom, and so I'm quite familiar with the product. And yeah, I'm looking forward to people's views, feedback, everything on both of them. Khang, if you want to start getting set up, then we will be good to go.
So hello everybody, I'm Khang. Nice to meet you all here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Can hear you well.
Yeah. Right. Okay, let's start it. So let me say a bit about my background. I have been doing education technology for about 10 years. So I started with more sport education when we have students and coaches to communicate better, and also to sport students, athletes to learn and practice their sport better. And then about 2 years ago, I started thinking that maybe I can do a bit more on higher education. And I started teaching at RMIT because with my background in computer science and software engineering, I can get a head tutor and other lecture position in RMIT. And in here, I started exploring what the problems students and teachers have in the higher education space. And that is the story how we build up, and now we have classcom, and the vision that I have been is to support students quickly and at scale with more personalized interaction. So this is answer a bit more from RMIT, but where I from. So in RMIT, currently we are going through a blended learning pilot. So the academic roles have been changing. We become more support, instruction, and collaborations. And also here we have a lot of problem with casualizations, where 60 to 70% of academic staff are now casual. As a course leader, it is harder to manage our academic staff, our tutors. With my teaching experience and other learning designer as well, we know that student support improves learning in some very specific disciplines. With research where student got stuck, teacher can chime in and help them to overcome their problem either in the course content or the assignment. And throughout my teaching, have been trying different methods until we reach to classcom. So for discussion forum, I can see that students usually only ask about assignment requirement or discuss public topics. They come to me privately or through consultation sections for their issues in engineering or computer science problem. I also try with Slack. I think it's a good tool for collaboration, but it has quite low student adoption. And also when the assignment is due, student has a tendency to send tutors and lecturers too many private messages asking for help. And email has been with us for a very long time. So the problem with email, I feel, is need a lot of couple of emails back and forth to clarify the problem before we can resolve it. And in consultation time, There was usually just too few students show up, and we cannot organize regularly. And as a course leader, we don't have a really good and meaningful measurement. So we just want you to do a quick poll, I think, for which students are most overloaded with student support. So I want to hear from you and see what the problem is. Is this a common problem outside of engineering and technology background? So maybe Lindsay, can you copy the link and share that to everybody in the chat?
Can do. So I was wondering if it's multiple subjects. Okay.
Yeah, currently I can only set it to be like select only one subject at a time.
Yeah,
And
just interesting point, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and the results I have in here, I would love to share with everybody. I think that everybody is selecting nursing as one of the most overloaded, and then education, and then technology. So I think that's everybody about to finish. I can start moving on. So working with my colleagues inside RMIT, we have been designing and building and trialing classcom for about 3 or 4 semesters. So the goal that we have is we want to resolve student issue quickly with one-on-one live chat. And then we want as a course leader to set up and manage tutor schedule. And we integrate that into our learning system and as well as Microsoft Teams, because I think Microsoft Teams is also become very, very popular and very useful for everybody in education. And we try to design for educators and course leader workflow. I think this is still, we need to talk with a lot more learning designer and educators to make sure that the process we have is good and helpful and useful for everybody. And we also provide meaningful data about conversation to have the course leadership. So the way we look at classcom is, I think.
Kang, just a question.
Yeah.
About the integration. Which learning system does it integrate with? That's a question from Kate.
Yes. So currently we have successfully integrate with Canvas and Moodle and Blackboard, but we can also integrate a link into any other learning management system, because this is very easy. We don't require students to integrate. We don't require students to sign up for an account. Like we can show you later on. Thank Kate. Yeah. So when building classcom, we inspired by looking at both of the very popular way of consultation and support people, that is doctor consultation and customer service support. And they seem to be from 2 different scales, 2 different streams of customer service. We only want you to quickly, we want to know how well the agent is supporting student. We want you to scale and optimize in cost, and the service agent are more interchangeable, but the service will be available 24/7. For doctor consultations, it's a lot of higher quality and higher cost of service and more connection and trust with the patients. And usually the patient will have to book quite in advance. So when we sit down and then we start designing it, we think about how we can do it in according to student learning journey. So when students self-study, they can read the prepare FAQ that teacher have prepared. And then if they have some new questions, they can get prompt help during office hours. So they can also book in advance for the office hour. And the teacher can use their knowledge or some of the personal note to answer the student. And then from that note, they build up the FAQ so the other student can benefit from it. And this whole process, the leader can learn to improve and manage the cost.
And is this all within the app, okay? The FAQs, the office hours?
Yes, everything is within the app. So I would just go quickly to the screenshot of my app. So in the first step, students access to the LMS to self-study. And then I can send questions before the appointment time. So for example, here, when the students select me as a teacher, then they can see when I'm available to answer the questions. So they can choose one that is earliest to be available for them, or they can choose one that may be available much later, but they are more familiar to work with. And then student will be sent a reminder ahead of the time when the teacher comes. And students can also search through the FAQ so they know what kinds of questions are good, and then self-study when teachers are not online. And then when teachers are online, then we can show the student very clearly that now the teacher is online, expecting messaging from you. And then student can also choose which teacher to chat if we have multiple teachers online. And teacher can turn on group mode, because we have been trialing this at RMIT as well. Is some teacher that can create a group mode so that some of the assignment group can come together, 3 or more students, or small group come together and have a discussion with the teacher. And we also have other tools that we try to have with international students, because my background is my international students, so we try to translate some of the teacher messages from English to their own language, so that's faster communication and lower the barrier of communications between teacher and students. And this is from the teacher user interface. So we have 2 different user interface. One is specifically designed for teacher, and one is for the student. And then when teacher get into this from the RMS, they can which one in the incoming live chat that they want to answer. And then they can use the personal note that have been built in. So this is coming from the star messages, so they can just write and drop them in to reuse this for other students. And then teacher can use build up a knowledge base so that other students can search and learn, and that's how can you use that for the next semester.
There's a question about the FAQs,
Yes.
and some colleges actually, or universities, build their own FAQs or have their own FAQs in different ways, but find that students still ask the same questions or ask the questions that are already in the FAQ. Do you have a sense of how much people read them, or a response to that kind of thought?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I think that only about maybe 5 to 10% students actually read the FAQ, but it's also a good way because teacher can actually search and pull the FAQ out to just re-answer that without typing it on again. But I think this is one of the problem that classcom we need to think about and to design better. And in our course leader can set up online schedule for themselves or for all the tutors in the course. And usually we're trying to have like short amount of online time, maybe half an hour in morning and half an hour in the afternoon. And the course leader can manage to see if teachers are online at the time or not. And in the learning analytics, we try to provide a course leader with key issues and which students are having the issues, or which educator are how the tutors are performing. So give me 1 minute. I need to turn this on. No. So I would love everybody to do another quick pause, so you can just refresh that on by that you have in, so that you can see the new questions now. So we would love to see what analytics that we would like to have from such a messaging platform. Yeah. So I think that I forgot to mention that before the session, we ask students for their feeling, and then after the conversation, we send them a survey as well to ask what they feel now. So we know how well the tutors are doing the job, and also how the feeling of the student throughout the semester. I think that answer a lot of people and we're concerned about the student experience as well. I think that's something we have to work with is universities to have a deep integration into the LMS to combine with other learning analytics that they are having to figure out which student are at risk and how to support them. So we love to move on as well. So we're also working with teams, Microsoft Teams in different countries right now, in Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia. I think one of the problem with adoption of Teams into different classrooms is that teachers are afraid that students can spam teachers, especially during assignment deadline, and there no structure, there's no way to manage and control the student expectation. So one way we're working with Teams is to disable the private messaging between teacher and students, and then go all of that one-to-one between student and teacher is to go through classcom. So currently we interact with Teams as a tab in the extra section of the Teams app. And then whenever there is a teacher online, we can notify them through Teams, or if students are online in Teams for about 15 minutes, we can pop up and ask, do you want to have a chat with your teacher? And then if too many students are online, then we also need to book for it, so the teacher can go through student list one by one. So we have been trialing with RMIT Melbourne, RMIT Vietnam, and one Vietnamese university. 7 successful courses in IT, engineering, psychology, and business, with about 11 academics and 2,500 students. And we find out a lot of conversations result in positive student feedback. And about 45 to 95% students come and ask questions in the semester. So there is one course that they use classcom for own communications, such as no discussion forum and no emails. So all students will go through our platform. When other course, teacher can use this extra tool for consultation instead of the face-to-face one. Here are just some testimonials from some of our college in RMIT. So it's very helpful for Nick from engineering to work and interact with students. And another one from Prerna. So she's a tutor, head tutor from a psychology course. So it has been very useful application for Miss Prerna as well. So before we're doing the board, I would love to do a quick demonstrations with Canvas. So here is just a general Canvas, and when students get in, they can see that there's a couple of teacher in the list, and if they select the teacher, they can see that there's online office hour of the selected teacher. And when teacher is online, the student refreshes the page, they can see that the teacher is currently online. So if we don't have deep interaction, and then in trial file, student can just enter their name and email. And then teacher can go in here, they see that there's new incoming questions, and they can click to it and tap these questions. You doing? And then student can see that the message, and also can translate the message to their language. For example, I set up Vietnamese here. And in the teacher interface, the teacher can create a new FAQ form directly from this chat. So click on Add to FAQ, type in the questions, and then add the content of the chat in, and press save. So in here, teacher can see the list of all conversations of all the teachers inside the courses, or watching and viewing on the learning analytics from his class. So this is one of my class from the beginning of the year. We have 32 total conversations out of about 80 students. And then we also have the summary of the conversations, and then some of the filling. And in here, we can also set up office hour for myself or for all the teachers in my course. So this is another teacher in my course. I can assign that to, okay, I want to set this office hour for the test account.
Okay, there's a few questions coming through. Let's get to them. Okay.
Yeah.
So with the FAQ, question from Kate, do you manually create the FAQ? Do you copy and paste? How does it work?
So currently, for some of the lecture
Maybe
and
if you can take us through it as well.
excuse me,
Maybe if you can show us as well as you go.
what was the questions again?
About the creating the FAQ. What's the workflow? How do you do it?
Yes, you can create an FAQ from the bookmark, or you can create the FAQ right inside the chat room. So after you finish chatting with one student, you can click add to FAQ. Example, test FAQ. And then here you can click on this to enter a file or even a message into your FAQ and press save. So the FAQ will appear for that class. And then the student, I can see it in here. And then the student can see that it appear in the classcom for students. What's the next questions?
Yeah, next question. Can teachers, this is from Jesse, can teachers choose to only accept chats from certain classes? Or from certain students, I guess, potentially? Just explain how that works.
Yes, when students send teacher questions, they can see that there are a list of incoming questions here, and then teacher can select which question they want to answer. So the questions that they don't answer will expire after 10 days. So the student know that the teacher might have forgot about these questions and may move on.
And could another teacher pick up that question? I think that's kind of what part of this question is about.
So currently, because the student will select the specific teacher when they send the questions to, but I think that's a good feedback. I also want to explore to see how that works in kinds of a team.
Another question from Kinley at Griffith. Is it possible to talk or use voice chat?
So currently, we can send the student a voice and audio message, but we don't have voice chat or video chat here. Teacher can record the video of their voice to send to student. We can do a quick demo on that. I can do a quick demo on that. Yeah. Yes. So start a new conversation now. Okay, and this is a new conversation. And now the teacher can pick up the questions. And we have tool to record a video message or voice message. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thanks for that, Ken. Another question, or it's a proposition, is because it's integrated into the LMS. Would you get requests? Like, who could you get requests from? Only people in your class, in your course, in a particular unit? How does that work?
So currently, you only get requests from students from your class, from inside the Canvas Moodle Blackboard course unit.
Thanks, Ken. Another question, maybe just as we should wind up in a minute or two, but just about, could you just show us the data again and how that looks?
So for this one, you mean the learning analytics one?
I meant the analytics, sorry.
Yes. Okay, let's
So what have we got here? Number of messages. What else does it tell us? What does it tell us about the sentiment or other things?
Yeah, so in terms of number of feedback after the conversation, 66% is positive. And then you can look at each of them individually. So this is from a real cost. Yep. And then you can have a quick look at the summary of the conversations.
Okay, thanks, Khang. We should start moving on. I know you've got another survey. There is another question for you in the chat. I would encourage you to just answer that in the chat.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and then can you copy the link? I can do that.
Yes, I'll copy it's been translated into a Typeform link, and I'll just put that into the chat now. That's the same link as Khang's talking about.
Okay, that's good.
We're still on. It's just people are completing the survey. I'll just share that back one more time. Okay, maybe while people are completing that survey, I'll introduce the. Unless Khang, you want to just finish up? Otherwise, I'll introduce Nathan.
Yes, thank you everybody for listening and spending time with me. So if you can fill in the survey and I can come back, and I'm very happy to come to your office. I'm in CBD, but I'm happy to come even if you want to ask a large job to have a one face-to-face discussions, because we're really keen on to make this product to be excellent. So we want to listen to your feedback and hear about how it can help in your cases.
All right, thanks, Khang.
Thank you everybody. Yep.